Well, the response to my video on anger, part one, was like incredible. It blew our minds how many emails that I received over this topic, and it said what I thought was true. You know, in the last 25 years of doing this work and leading workshops and men's groups and all of these different things, even spiritual study groups, advanced spiritual study groups, I see that anger is something that people are continuing to still press down in society. As a matter of fact, there's very few outlets for anger to really to be released in. More and more, as we become more of a sedentary society, the opportunity to blow off steam, as we used to say years ago, is becoming diminished over the years for everyone from kids to parents and even to grandparents. It's incredible. The other day in USA Today, they had an article about sports teams and spectators, and how this incredible increase in testosterone happens when a home team wins a close game, and how fans become unruly. And I was reading this article and thinking about anger again. You know, we just don't have really viable ways to disperse that anger that builds up within most of us, and that's one of the biggest problems. And the other problem that we have, that we talked a little bit about in the first segment on anger, is the denial that anger even exists within us. Hi, I'm David Essel. And today I want to talk about that. You know, there's so many of us have been conditioned by society that if you're an angry person, you're not a nice person. You know, you've got some serious mental issues. And let me tell you a story about how tough it is to get in touch with our own anger. I lead a men's support group, and we meet every Wednesday night, and I've done this for a number of years now. And so in one of these exercises that I've given the new group that I'm working with, and it's the same one I've done in the past, and the same thing happens, and why I'm always surprised, I don't know. But I asked them to write a letter to someone that they were really angry at. Now, these are men, and most of them have been in this one group for about a year now, some of them 6 months, but in other words, they've had a long tenure of doing work with me. So the exercise, they came in that day, the week later, and I said, okay, we're going to read our letters of anger to a certain person. It might be a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a lover, a former lover. It could be a boss, a former boss, you know, whatever it might be. I don't care who it is, but I want you to really talk about the truth of your feelings, how angry you might be at that person, and for what reasons. Now, these are letters that I don't ever ask anyone to send out. You know, I just say, look, this is an exercise to help us release, because in the writing process, we can really start to minimize that retention of anger. We can allow it to come to the surface and out, and then help us to move into healthier relationships in the present, especially if it's relationships in the past that we're angry about. So we had the first person read it, and as I'm listening to the person read, he was getting through this whole thing, and there was no words of anger at all. Until about one sentence from the bottom, he said, you know, I'm pissed about something. So I waited till he was done, and I said, there's one word in this letter that's crucially important, and but it was only said one time. What is it? And he was using all these different words, but he didn't connect with it. So we went to the next person, and it was the same thing for about everyone. You know, one guy really got in touch with his anger. Now, isn't this a shock? So they had to rewrite the letter, and in the rewriting of the letter, it all came out about how pissed off they were, how angry they were, how it put them in a rage to think that X would happen, or Y would happen, or Z would happen. And when we ended the session, I said, why do you think would happen? And this one guy raised his hand. He goes, you know what, man, I've been conditioned that to write with this amount of honesty is not a cool thing for anyone to do in life. We should never be this angry. I said, I know. Isn't that sad? You know, so the exercise I'm going to give with you today is the same thing I give to my men's group. It's the same thing I give to my clients when I work with them one-on-one, and it's what I teach at my workshops. And it works. If you want to disseminate, if you want to get to the bottom of that anger and disperse it and start to get rid of it, you've got to write with truth. If there's rage, there has to be rage. If you need to use the F word, use the F word. If you need to use the F word 1,000 times, use it 1,000 times. I don't care what words you use. I don't care how nasty the lingo has to be. I don't care how many times you say the same thing over and over again. If you do not get down to the base of that anger that you have at your past partner, current partner, children, husband, wife, if your mom, your dad, oh my God, heaven forbid, right? For a lot of us, that I know I can't. One of the guys said that I can't be that mad at my mother. You know, it's like, yeah, you may have to be, man. If that's the reality, you might have to be. Bosses, politicians, whatever it is, I'm going to ask you to quit stuffing the anger. get to a real space with it so it can finally be released. And you know, this is an area I love to work on in life. So if you find, and what happens with anger that's submerged, it comes out in addiction. It comes out in rage in traffic. It comes out in being cynical in life and a pessimist in life, and someone who highly judges others and someone who gossips about others. That's all the emanations of anger that has been submerged for years, especially addiction and so many other different things. So let me help you. TalkDavid@AOL.com is my website. TalkDavid.com or TalkDavid@AOL.com is my email address. And also share this with people that you think might be submerging anger. It's a tough thing to get in touch with. If all these guys that I've been working with for a year couldn't do it on their first count, shouldn't surprise you that you might have a hard time too, and I would love to help you. Don't forget to sign up for Super Slowdown right here so that every time we put out a new video, it goes right to your account. Okay? Sending love. Bye-bye.